Morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the webinar today on why Sophos MDR is essential for your Office 365 security. I'm really excited to discuss this webinar today with Greg. Hello, Greg. Thank you so much for joining.
Morning, everybody.
Fab. So let's get started. Right, so just a quick introduction to who Greg and I are. Bear with me, sorry, I'm just checking that the button's working. Perfect. So today's speakers are Greg Cooper, who's the Channel Account Manager at Sophos, and then myself, Marketing Manager at CSG. So our agenda today will be covering a brief introduction to what MDR is. I know a lot of you on the call are aware of what MDR is, but we'll be drilling into the native tools of Office 365 limitations to show why there is a need for MDR for your email security, and then how MDR complements and strengthens your existing defenses, because this is a product that doesn't works in synergy with all your other security defenses. And then we'll be seeing some real world examples of MDR stopping threats, and then some practical guidance on how to implement MDR solutions into your organization. So I know a lot of you know about CSG because a lot of you are customers of ours, but to whoever is new joining us today, a little bit about who Computer Services Group are. We're the trusted IT and security partner to around 400 SMEs across England and Wales. We've been going since 1985, and we are almost celebrating our 40th year trading, which is a really incredible milestone for everyone at CSG. We cover offices in Bridgend, Bristol and Exeter, so we work with companies across the UK, and we are of course ISO 9000 certified, and we have other certifications which I will cover in the next slide. So here are our accreditations. We are Sophos Platinum Partner, which we are really, really proud to achieve that accreditation. Our cybersecurity includes GDPR Ready, SES Cyber Essentials, Microsoft Solutions Designation Partner, which is relevant for this conversation today because, like I said, we'll be discussing how Sophos MDR protects your Office 365 environment. We are HP, Cisco, Acronis, Kaseya, and Datto Platinum partners as well. So really, really excited because this is the first webinar with Sophos where we are able to talk about our Sophos Platinum partnership, and that means we are the first MSSP in Wales to achieve this accreditation. So this basically means that we've got access to the highest level support, training and resources from the team at Sophos, including Greg, who is on the call today, which enables us to deliver top-tier security solutions for our customers. It demonstrates a proven track record of expertise within the cybersecurity industry, and especially helping build trust and credibility with our customers. So what makes Platinum Partners stand out from other partnerships with Sophos? We benefit from technical support and early access to new products and updates, basically meaning our customers get first choice when it comes to those security products. And there is a little photo of yesterday's event that our CSG team were really happy to attend. And thank you again for hosting us and letting us come along to the roadshow yesterday. So a little bit of background about why your company needs an MSP, because I know we're talking about these security solutions and these security products, but there is a reason why Sophos suggests having an MSP, which is a managed security services provider, to implement these for you instead of just doing it yourself. So with CSG, you get the 24/7 threat monitoring and responses, which is just critical these days to stopping those attacks before they escalate. With AI attacks happening any time of the day now, you need the 24/7 protection. It's even more emphasized in later months. You also get access to advanced threat intelligence with AI-driven analytics to detect these emerging threats early. This means that you can have a full analysis instead of just getting told this is that. You're able to digest it and learn from it as well. Hiring and retaining in-house cybersecurity teams can be expensive, time-consuming. MSSPs like CSG offer access to these top-tier experts without the overhead. And also we work very closely with the IT managers and security managers in the companies that we do work with who have people in place. And then really importantly, depending on your industry, you're going to be having a range of different requirements to adhere to when it comes to cybersecurity. So we are experts in helping guide you with that as well across a range of industries. We work with legal, charity, manufacturing, and a lot more SMEs in England and Wales as well. So, why are we here today to discuss about how to protect your inbox? Why is there a heightened demand for it? Because I know we're always talking about cybersecurity and how to strengthen your defenses, but specifically today, Office 365 is being targeted by cyber attackers, and MDR is that extra line of defense you need. So, info stealers account for 24% of cyber incidents in 2024, and these are often targeting Office 365. So InfoSeals is malware that steals credentials, which are accessed through clicking on those dodgy links in your emails. This is still really, really shocking to anyone who works in security. Only 40% of organizations use MFA now. And I know a lot of customers are on this call thinking, oh my gosh, because they all know how to use it and the importance of it. But if you don't know the requirements and the need for it, we can see a lot of companies failing in that area there. And it's so easy to set up. It's one of the quickest, most straightforward ways that you can get that first line of protection. So really good way to strengthen your defense there. Credential reuse. So many breaches stem from reused or weak passwords. It's still amazing to go out and talk to people and learn about how they're creating passwords, even though we all know not to have password 123 as our passwords. I know a lot of reports recently still go into and ask people what their password areas are, and they're still pet names. They're still things like password 123. So starting from the basics can often be the first way to defend your inboxes. So Microsoft 365 is used by over 3.7 million companies globally. And what does this mean? This means that cyber attackers will be targeting something that's so predominantly used within by businesses, and 60% of user time spent in email, chat, and meetings. This makes it a prime target for attackers because people are in there every day for hours, spending time within their accounts. Several high-profile ransomware attacks in 2024 began purely from phishing emails sent to Office 365 users, and this then led to encrypted data and ransom demands on the millions. So we're not talking about just a dodgy link to embarrass your employee because you've clicked on a phishing link. We are talking about protecting your infrastructure and potentially paying a ransom fee as well. So how can you take some steps today just to protect your inbox a little bit more? We're just going to give you some things that you should be doing, and if you're not, when you leave this webinar today, I'm sure you'll be rushing to implement them. So MFA ensures adequately users identify themselves before accessing their email accounts. It just adds that extra layer of security. We've all got our phones on us in the office, and it's easy then to just quickly secure your login process. If the cyber criminal compromises the first line of authentication, guessing a password, then the second line of defense helps you protect your inbox. And most importantly, without MFA, you may not qualify for cyber insurance. And if you're looking into these governmental contracts, working with stakeholders that require these insurance, then this is a really important section for you guys. So another tip today on how to protect your inbox, preventing email typo squatting. So this is a hacking technique that takes advantage of users misspelling an organization's domain name, which sounds quite simple and is obviously going to happen a lot, isn't it? Quickly typing away. So if a scammer successfully hijacks hijacks a misspelled ill, they can then use the typo squatted domain in emails as a sender from the victim's organization, so making it more believable that it's coming from that organization. And then we can help prevent this entry point for a business email compromise scammers by registering domains that look similar to your own and are likely to be mistaken. So if you guys haven't done that, that's just a quick tip for us today to get your inbox more strengthened. And a quick example, if you've got piedpiper.com as your domain email, registering things like Pied Piper with hyphens in or with a 1 can help with that, because it means that these cyber attackers can't pretend to be you through different emails then. And this is just a really quick example of how PayPal have done that, and we offer support on that if anyone wants to chat after the webinar to contact their account manager. Another tip today on how to protect the inbox is email verification, and this helps methods to filter, block, and report suspicious emails, and that's an important access as well, because reporting these attacks helps your your inbox to then. I'm looking for a word. Greg, can you help me out? I'm looking for a word here. They're able to identify them quicker. Thank you, Greg. Taking off your heads to them really helped. So the common email verification methods include sender policy framework filtering. This is SPF, not the suntan lotion. And this ensures incoming emails are coming from the domain they claim to be. And then domain keys identified mail. So this adds that encrypted signatures to validate all outgoing emails and verify incoming one as well. And then domain-based authentication, reporting, and confirmance, which adds that encrypted signatures, validating outgoing emails, which is, like I said, very important way to protect your inbox. Final way is one of the final ways is complying with recognized security frameworks. At CSG, we work with the NIST Cybersecurity Framework, iOS 27000 series, and of course, Cyber Essentials and Cyber Essentials Plus. I know a lot of you have achieved that certification with us who are on the call today. So you're already adding those extra layers of defense, but adding the MDR as well can help you get accredited with these quicker. So let's take a look at some recent breaches that have come purely from business email being compromised. So we're all heard about it, Marks and Spencer, the social engineering breach, which happened this April and May. What happened? Attackers used highly targeted phishing emails with AI. People are making more targeted attacks with less time and pressure on themselves. They can do it automated. So they're gaining access to internal systems far, far quicker and easier than ever before. Emails mimicking trusted internal communications, leading to compromise of customer data and disruption of online orders. We all knew this was a massive impact for Marks and Spencer, and it still is now. And this just shows that no matter your company size, reputation, you are always likely to get a breach from this way. And our key takeaway from this, like I said, even well-defended enterprises get breached through convincing email-based social engineering. And a lot of the time, even though we work with your employees to strengthen knowledge, to increase cyber awareness, having MDR in place is that extra protection for you guys. Another recent breach example is the Co-op one that everyone has been talking about, and this has disrupted their entire supply chain, again, through an email compromise. This happened in May, and this BEC-style attack targeted third-party logistics providers. A lot of our customers work with third-party providers, and we provide that support and guidance on how to manage this through our managed services. So if you're an organisation that works with many different providers, having that extra reassurance, knowing that you won't fall victim to a breach because you are working with them is very, very important in this day when attacks are happening all the time. And this takeaway from this is really to show that BEC attackers don't always target financial theft distribution. They target everyone, no matter what industry, size, company. So the demand to have that strengthened MDR security. Our final example is a UK law firm example. Obviously, no names mentioned. The mid-sized law firm in Manchester was hit by a payroll diversion attacker. Attackers compromised the HR email staff, and this is a very, very common one because what do employees care about? What do staff members care about? Getting paid, making sure it's all credible. So key takeaways from this is highlighting how BC attacks have become more targeted, exploiting those trusted relationships and internal processes that you're supposed to have reassurance in. So how does BEC work? And that will lead on then to how we can help defend against it. Cybercriminals can use several different techniques to carry out these scams, including directly hacking an email account through social engineering techniques. We all know the social engineering techniques to guess people's passwords. We've seen them filling in where they're first born, their town first born, their cat's name, everything. All our customers know not to do that, but that's just that added way that people can get in. So what is key login? The first method of BEC, which is key login, which is where a cybercriminal sends a phishing email containing the keylogger spyware to an uninspected employee. The employee mistakes this phishing scam as a legitimate download, unknowingly installing the keylogger malware. And this can be coming from someone trying to impersonate their manager. I've just started my new job. I get an email from my manager urgently asking me to send over some details. I want to impress him. I don't want to be asking too many questions because that may make you not look as equipped for the job. So you're under pressure to quickly get back to your new manager. And this is something that we support with employee training and awareness to make sure that any member of staff knows not to respond to these emails and what to look out for, including urgency, issues with the domain and different language. You know how your manager talks to you on a day-to-day. Getting to learn that voice and tone of language can be really great ways to spot if it's a phishing email. So the second method is spear phishing, and this is where cybercriminal uses a spoofed email to obtain confidential information from an employee or organization. And this can compromise, this aim is to compromise personally identified information, protected health information, etc. All those things that you want to keep confidential. And this depends on the type of BSAM they're conducting. I've chucked in a little example there from Pied Piper Accounts Manager, just on how believable these attacks can be, but also obvious indications that they are a phishing email. So I'm going to just cover the 5 main types of BEC scams, just so we can leave today's webinar knowing a little bit more about what type of scams they are focusing on. So the bogus invoice scheme. This one is a classic where they will impersonate the organization's vendor or supplier through a spoofed email account and then send fraudulent invoices to organizations. As soon as you click on that link, then that's when you know you have been victim. And the second one then is CEO fraud. This is so common, and I know a lot of my friends and family have received these on a daily basis, and they'll get an email from their executive manager asking them to send them details or verify a payment really quickly. Urgently is always the emphasis, so make sure to look out for those triggering emails. The third one is account compromise. So this is where a cybercriminal hacks the employee's mail account and sends fraudulent invoices. And then attorney impersonation. So posing as a lawyer or any other legal professional and then contacting them through an urgent matter then. All things that we can all be victim of. So that's why having that extra layer of security can help protect. The last one before we move on is data theft, where cybercriminals hacks the employee's email account in a relevant department such as HR, requesting that information. So BEC scammers are always targeting and looking at human error vulnerabilities to achieve these. If you post on LinkedIn, everyone knows where you're working, they know a little bit about you. It's easy to find out your vulnerabilities, what you care about, what for example, if you are an advocate, supporter of a charity, they can target you on this, knowing that's your weak point. And organisations should pair employee education with these additional security measures then, such as MDR, to defend against BEC effectively. And CSG provides employee awareness sessions as well to help your organisation and staff become your first line of defence. So we run our awareness training sessions before the data breach occurs, which is the most important thing. You don't want to wait until after something occurs to get strengthened. And then we will do training exercises, including our Sophos phishing training, which is really, really great. Well, I say it's great fun. I find it fun. So just a really good way to see if your employees are keeping up with the latest BEC phishing attempts. And when in doubt, remember, always seek advice before we click on any links or follow through with anything. And I know everyone's constantly hearing about it, constantly talking about it, but zero trust methodology always assume it's going to be a phishing attempt, basically. So here are some common signs of a potential BEC attack. When scammers use spear phishing tactics, they'll often make requests that require urgency. Like I covered before, saying you need to do this in 2 days, you need to do this now. If you're working with a professional company, they're not going to give you 2 days to sort something like that out. So that's something to share with employees and share with staff to keep them more aware. Incorrect use of language. I'm going to briefly cover this section because I know a lot of our customers are aware of these action points to take, but use of broken spelling, grammatical error, anything that sounds unprofessional often is an attempt of a BEC attack. Typos in the sender email addresses, requests that don't follow usual protocol, and requests to keep communications private as well. These are all suggestions about if it's a attack. So that's enough from me. Thank you so much for listening. And I'm really, really excited now to introduce Greg and let him take over. Thank you so much, Greg.
Thanks, Eve, and good morning, everybody. Can you hear me, Eve, before I carry on? Yeah, just to quickly introduce myself, I've been at Sophos for 4 years now, and I've worked with CSG for that whole time period. So I know Eve, Ricky, Matthew, and the team very well. They're great to work with, and yeah, thrilled to be able to see them achieve platinum status. I think for you guys on the call, it shows that you're dealing with real experts in not only Sophos but cybersecurity. As Eve said, there's only one platinum Sophos partner in Wales, so yeah, they've done a brilliant job. And just a couple of things that I picked up on from your section there, Eve. We say a lot now at Sophos. I think the perception is when you think of a hacker or a scammer, they break in, they somehow find a weakness in the system and they break in. What we see now is actually that's not the case. A lot of the time they simply log in because of the business email compromise. They get the details, they know how to do it, they log in, they look like an official user. And that's why we've come to realize, and not just at Sophos, but it seems to be the market in general, that you need a little bit more now than just a robust antivirus. You need something like MDR, where you've got people monitoring, whether it's people internally or external here at Sophos, people monitoring the network, making sure that there's nobody on there that shouldn't be, and knowing how to kick them off if needs be. And just before I jump into the bits that I've got to talk about, Eve mentioned as well the phishing training that we have here at Sophos. I actually really like it. CSG is something that CSG can get you guys set up on. It's I think it's the cheapest thing we have here at Sophos. It doesn't cost much at all. But the big difference in it, Sophos Fish Threat versus everywhere else that I've worked, is everywhere else that I've worked, when you start in the first 2 weeks, you have to read a 10-page PDF about how to avoid phishing emails. Nobody really reads it. You skim through and click and sign at the end. With this one, what we do is we send emails out from maybe Spotify, Just Eat, Uber Eats, something like that, something that people kind of want to see an email from. But like Eve said, there'll be maybe a spelling mistake in the company name, or it'll be HTTP instead of HTTPS. if I get it wrong and I click on it, it goes to my manager, and I don't want my manager to, especially at a security company, to see that I'm clicking on dodgy phishing emails. So I'm just really, really diligent now, checking everything. So I think having this product and knowing what to look for, it does help, and it helps me spot real phishing attempts as well as the fake ones coming from Sophos. So Eve, are you all right to click through? I don't think I can do it. Or can I? I can. So every year at Sophos, we release a report called the State of Ransomware Report. We've just this last month released the latest version. So if anybody's interested in seeing it after this presentation, write to Eve, write to your account manager at CSG, and they'll be able to share it with you. But essentially what we do is we go and we independently interview IT leaders here in the UK, in the States, and around the world to see what they see in terms of cyber activity. Some of these will be Sophos customers, a lot of them won't be because it's completely independent. And what we see, and I'll read through these quickly, but 59% of the IT professionals that we spoke with noticed an increase in the complexity of attacks over the last year compared to the year before when we last ran the report. 57% of organizations saw an increase in the volume of attacks, so more businesses getting hit. 66 businesses were hit with ransomware, or at least a ransomware attempt. 90% of the businesses hit with ransomware said it impacted their ability to operate, probably because the data was encrypted, passwords changed, people couldn't log in. And only 4% of organizations that were actually hit with ransomware managed to get all of their data back. Hackers we see at Sophos are really, really good at encrypting data and making sure that you can't access it. They're not quite as good at giving it back. They don't have they've not made the same investments for de-encrypting data. And the average cost of remediation following a ransomware attack, especially if you're dealing with the hackers and the criminals, was 1.3 million, and that's for GBP as well. We're seeing it go up and up, probably because of cyber insurance. More organizations are protected, and the criminals are smart. They know how much an organization can pay, so they might look at a P&L account to see how much they could potentially ask for. Some of them we've noticed have even found the insurance certificate, found out how much they're liable for, and that, funnily enough, is the exact amount that they've requested in the ransom demand. So the State of Ransomware has all of this type of information, so we could share this following the call. We also looked at industry by industry to see who was getting hit, and unfortunately, not many organisations are safe these days. There is a little bit of positive on this, and don't try and strain your eyes and read everything. At the bottom here, we've got all the different sectors, the verticals, media, for example, local government. The green is how many of organisations were hit the year before. The orange was this most recent year. So we are seeing in a lot of cases it's going down, and we think that that's probably because organisations are aware of the threats more and more, especially when we see, like Eve pointed out, examples like the Co-op and John Lewis. So organisations' defences are becoming stronger, but still, even on the lower ones, 34%, 45%, 50% is still very, very high. So organisations, no matter really which vertical you're in, need to be sure that their cyber defences are strong. Aside from criminal gangs becoming more sophisticated with attacks, having easier access to ransomware, which you can now purchase off the dark web, for example, the complexity of organisations' IT environments has become much more complex, especially since COVID. If we think back maybe 5 or 6 years ago, everybody was in the office, the servers were all in the server room, everybody came in and logged in on a desktop. It's not like that at all anymore. We've got laptops, people work from home. We've still probably got a small server room. There's applications in the cloud. Workplace applications like Google, Salesforce, so a lot of different areas that need to be protected. We call it the threat landscape here at Sophos. So a wide array of different options for cyber criminals to try and gain access and get access to data and files and things like that. So the more complex it is to manage, the more organizations are realizing that they need help from somebody like CSG and Sophos to help protect all their customers and employees. I see a question there. What we'll do, we've got some time at the end, so feel free as we go through, put some questions in the chat, and then Eve, we can pick them through at the end and talk through them. If there's any that we can't answer today, I'll go away and I'll speak with some of our engineers and we'll follow up with any answers to any questions. So yeah, stick them in the chat and we'll come back to them. So the solution at Sophos to everything we've just spoken about is managed detection and response. It's essentially cybersecurity as a service, where rather than try and have the expertise in-house to be looking for things that are untoward on the network, looking for ransomware, kicking people off the network that shouldn't be on and dealing with malware and removing it, rather than doing that in-house, you basically say to somebody like CSG, can you do it for us? And what you get for that is you get access to our security operations center, where we've got 500 threat hunters monitoring the IT estates for all of our customers 24/7, because we see, and I'm sure it's quite obvious, that most cybersecurity incidents happen in the evening, at weekends, in the holiday periods, where people aren't online, where people aren't paying attention to what's going on. We offer expert-led threat hunting, full-scale incident response capabilities. So if there is a breach, we can completely remediate the issue. And as a result, superior cybersecurity outcomes. I think it kind of goes without saying that to utilize an organization that like Sophos that's been doing this for 40 years plus, with 500 threat hunters all around the world, 30,000 customers using this product, we've got the expertise. We can really deliver. We can really fix a problem very, very quickly, and we'll come on to how quick later on in the presentation. So here at Sophos with managed detection and response, we don't just focus on the products that we at Sophos sell through CSG. We also integrate with a lot of other security and also productivity products that a lot of you guys will be using. And I think the next slide shows a few more, but just on this one, we'll focus on Microsoft, because I think everybody on this call probably uses Microsoft in some way or form, whether it's on the email, on Teams. But all of the different Microsoft products, Defender, for example, Identity Protection, Azure, Office 365, Sentinel, we collect through the logs data points from every single one of these, and not just these. If I click onto the next slide, all the other integrations that feed into Sophos as well. So whether it's a Acronis managed backup, whether it's a Palo Alto, a Cisco firewall, we can see everything that's happening on your network. And all these little dots here, you could imagine that they are little pieces of data. So one of them might be that somebody's logged on from France and they're based in the UK, which on its own might not be so suspicious. But this little dot down here might be that they've typed in the password 5 times wrong on that same morning. This point here might be that there was 3 spelling mistakes in the email. So each individual piece of information on its own doesn't look too serious. But when we put all the data in order, make sense of it, contextualize it, and get our human-led threat hunting team monitoring it, we can quickly see, hang on a minute, something's not right here. We need to further investigate. So that's when we get the threat hunting team on the case. We really do a deep dive into what's happening. If there is somebody on the network that shouldn't be on, we can spot it very, very quickly. We can kick them off, and we can make sure that the passwords are reset so they can't do any more damage than what they may have already done. So as we said, it's not just your Microsoft, all the things on the right-hand side here, Defender, Outlook 365. All of these security products also integrate. So we can see, for example, if you've got Mimecast on the email, we can link in with that, see what's happening on the email. And again, it helps us identify and build a case very, very quickly. This is just a snapshot, a few highlights of what we integrate with. There's actually hundreds of them. So if there's something in your IT stack that's not on this page, give Eve a shout following the call, or even maybe put it in the chat, and we can let you know if we integrate with that product. And if we don't do it already, we can take it to our product management team and get it on the roadmap, because the team are tasked with at least one new integration every month, but actually we're doing a lot more than that. So we've had our integrations with the MDR team, allowing us to see what's happening on the wider the wider network outside of the Sophos products since the product launch about 3 years ago. But we are still developing it. We're still bringing in more and more vendors to integrate with. The big news this year, as of May, is that we can now do response actions for Microsoft 365. So if you've got Microsoft 365 and you've got Sophos MDR almost as an overlay service, looking for threats, looking for incidents and responding to them, we can now respond via the Microsoft 365. So we can block user sign-in to stop people gaining access. We can terminate active user sessions. So as we said, if there's somebody on there that we want off, we can do that without needing to ask Microsoft to get involved and help us. And we can disable suspicious inbox rules. An example of one that we see that quite often actually is that hackers will log in, they'll gain access to a system, and they'll go into the Outlook and they can change the rules. So for example, they might be able to redirect anything with the word invoice to, rather than going to the finance manager, it will go to somebody within their organization. And then from there, they can manipulate the PDF, send it back. Maybe they've changed the payment address. So all the money that would be getting paid to the customer or the organization is actually getting paid directly to the criminals' banks. So anything that we see like this, if a rule's changed and it looks suspicious, we can disable it within minutes. We offer two different tiers on our managed detection and response product, and even the team at CSG will be able to talk through in full detail the differences between each and find out exactly which one is right for your organization. But just to pick out a few of the highlights, whether you're on our essentials or you're on our managed detection and response complete, you still get the expert-led threat hunting. So you've got the human team on the keyboard monitoring any cases, and the threat response is included in both. So if we see something that we shouldn't, we can stop it, we can contain it, and we can kick it off the network and make sure that your business operations aren't interrupted. If you want to go for the complete, we go way more into it. We'll do a full-scale incident response where we look at how the threats got in. Is that gateway completely closed? Can we guarantee that it won't happen again to make sure that the threat is fully eliminated and not going to come back? And again, if you want to look into this in any more detail, get in touch with your account manager at CSG, book a call. I'll be happy to join. One of our sales engineers will be happy to join, and we can talk through and make sure you understand exactly the difference between the products. So this page here has come from Gartner. I'm sure everybody's aware of who Gartner are. They are basically a market analyst firm that do a lot of research in tech products and let organizations that are shopping around see what's available on the market. And they compared our managed detection and response product to security operations teams. They looked at security operations teams and found that the slowest teams were dealing with incidents in around 30 hours. The fastest teams were doing it in around 3.7 and the median was about 16. I think it goes without saying that the less time an attacker has on the network, the less damage they can do. So we want them off as quickly as possible. So anybody that's got 30 hours on a system, they can steal a lot of data, they can do a lot of damage. 3.7 hours, they've still got some time, but not as much. The times that we've been adhering to here at Sophos is the average time it takes us to detect that something is untoward is 1 minute. So we're seeing things straight away, and there's a slide coming up of just how we do that. We then, a case will then be built. It will be pushed through to our human-led threat hunting team, where the investigation time is on average around 25 minutes. And then the time taken to fix the issue is 12 minutes. So from the attacker gaining access to being completely kicked off, the average time that we're still working to is 38 minutes. A lot of the time it'll be much, much quicker because we've got so many customers now. We see the same attacks, the same threats, the same pieces of malware again and again. So we know exactly how to deal with it. So a lot of the time, as soon as we see something, it's blocked before it even gains access. So it's a matter of seconds. The coverage of our security operations team is worldwide, so we don't just have a team here in the UK working nights, small staff at night time. It's not like that at all. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 all around the globe. think everybody wants to work in the Hawaii office here, but that seems to be the hardest one to get to. But what it means is we've always got people online, we've always got people alert, we've always got people awake. It's always the middle of the day for the people online. So yeah, there's 500 of them spread across, and they all, whether they're in India or even the Australians, they all speak in English, and they can contact you and deal with you in your own language, so that there should be no issues at all in working with our team. And as we said earlier, how quick we can respond to incidents. We've seen them before, we know what we're doing with them. This is just a demonstration of really how it works. If we start here in the red circle on the left-hand side, an MDR user experiences a new attack, so a zero-day threat, something that we've never seen before. Let's say it's with one of our customers down in Brazil, complete opposite side of the world. The process of how things work here is our MDR desk will investigate the threat. They'll probably quickly realize that it's something that they've not seen before, so they'll escalate it to our Sophos Labs team to do further investigation. Once we understand the piece of malware, the piece of code, new detection rules will be written into our software, which will then be available to every single customer using the product. Therefore, the product has become harder, it's become stronger, it's become harder to breach. We will then scan every single customer, all 30,000 of them in our MDR portfolio, to make sure that we're not seeing any of the same malware, any of the same code on any of their systems as well. If they have, we'll quickly kick it off. So by having 30,000 customers, and that's growing very, very quickly. Just about a month ago, it was 27,000, the latest presentation that we use. We see so many threats, and it just gives us the expertise in how to deal with them and how to deal with them very, very quickly. So who uses an MDR service? And I won't talk through all of this, but I think when we launched it about 3 years ago, the perception was that this product is for maybe big banks, big financial organizations with lots of money, very sensitive data, that have got big budgets for cybersecurity. And actually, that's not the case. Our average MDR customers is way below 100 users. It's for absolutely everybody. It is for these large enterprise organizations, but it's also for the smaller organizations that don't have the expertise in-house. Rather than try and build that team or have the limited IT resource that you've got focused on threat hunting and remediation, organizations are finding that the easy way to do it and the best way to do it is actually to outsource it to Sophos. Forget about cybersecurity almost and focus on growing the business and spending the IT development time on improving processes and making organizations more profitable. So yeah, I wouldn't rule it out. Following on that, if you're a smaller organization, I wouldn't rule out managed detection and response. The chances are it probably is affordable for you, and it's definitely worth a look. Cyber insurance, Eve, you mentioned this earlier, two-factor authentication is definitely needed. I had a call with one of our cyber insurance partners just yesterday, and they say that without MFA, they actually don't offer insurance at all, but that's quite an easy thing to fix. Cyber insurance works pretty much like car insurance, house insurance. If you've got a house with a good lock on the door, an alarm, a gate, a driveway, all this type of thing, the house is more secure, you're more insurable, so you can get a better premium, you've got more room for negotiation. Exactly the same with cyber insurance. If you've got managed detection and response, cyber insurers will know that you're taking your cybersecurity seriously. They'll know that you are low risk, so you will be able to negotiate the premium. You will almost certainly get a better rate. The organisations that we partner with around cyber insurance are offering 15 to 20% off premiums for customers using Sophos Managed Detection and Response, which is then a way to sort of reinvest and almost goes towards paying for the MDR product in itself. So again, any questions around that, pop them in the chat, give Eve a shout after, and we can give you more detail on how it helps with insurance if that's something that you're looking at. So to summarise, benefits of using a managed detection and response service: elevate cyber defenses. So by using Sophos, you've got the 500 threat hunters around the world, all the expertise that we've gathered over the years. frees up your IT teams to focus on your business, 24/7 peace of mind. You're adding all of the Sophos expertise without having to hire anybody to perform the cybersecurity work itself. And by doing so, improving the cybersecurity return on investment. It works out so much cheaper to outsource to Sophos than build that team yourself internally. So I work for Sophos. I get paid to talk about how good our MDR product is. So I suppose you could take what I say with a bit of a pinch of salt. So I've put this slide in here just to show what other people are saying. And again, this has come from Gartner, leading market analyst firm. We've also been commended by the likes of IDC, G2, MITRE, Frost & Sullivan, all again leading market analysis firms that look at the products that Sophos and other cybersecurity vendors and will review them. We're always in the top right, which is where you want to be in the Magic Quadrants. And just here off the Gartner Peer Insights, so these are actually reviews from users for our managed detection and response product with an average rating of 4.9 out of 5, which is higher than any of our competitors here listed below. Interesting as well that the review volume is also almost more than double in most cases actually, so we've got a higher score coming from more reviews, which is always good and hopefully assuring for you guys to see. And if you want any more detail on this again, we can send you the links to the Gartner page, the G2 page, so you can read into it in more detail. And that's it. So just to quickly wrap up, cybercrime is becoming more complex. We're seeing it year after year. Adversary is a commonplace. We see so many organisations being hit and being targeted now, and it doesn't necessarily matter who you are and how big and how famous you are. Human-led attacks require advanced threat hunting, and we deal with that at Sophos with the human-led threat hunting team. And managed detection and response provides that instant human-led team. And we can also help with cyber insurance as well. So I think I've seen a couple of questions pop into the chat. Do you want to maybe should we go through them, Eve? And if anybody's got any more to add, put them in. We can run through
Thank
them.
you. I've also received some questions via email as well, people who've had to jump off as well. So we've got quite a few. Luckily, we've got a good 10 minutes now to go through these questions. But first of all, thank you for going through that, Greg. That was a great way to start the morning, motivate us all to get some strength and security in place. So MDR, we use it as CSG, and we love the fact that when our customers use it, they know straight away they've got that peace of mind. And I think that peace of mind is something that business owners are all looking for, to have a product and service in place that they trust. So what are the benefits, Greg, of purchasing MDR through a managed service provider like CSG? Because what are the added value then of using a managed service partner as well for that?
Yeah. So we only sell through organisations like CSG because we rely on your expertise within our products. So just talking specifically about CSG now, they've been dealing with Sophos for way more than 10 years. I don't know the exact number, Eve, but way more than 10. They've got, I think, 18 engineers now at CSG that are fully trained up and skilled up on our products. So even though we try and do as much automation and try and make it as easy to use as possible, it's still a very technical product. So pairing with somebody like CSG and being able to lean on all of the expertise that they've gathered over the years and worked really, really hard to do. It's not easy to become a Sophos engineer. You've got to do a lot of work and a lot of studying to get the certifications. You're dealing with experts. They know Sophos, they know cybersecurity. So any questions that you've got, you can go to them and you can be sure that you'll get a good answer. If there's something that they've not seen before, they've got the connections here within Sophos to find out straight away. I speak with Eve and the team regularly. They also know a lot of the people within our technical team. And I think yesterday they were with all the product managers, so they really know what's going on here and they can offer great advice and help.
Yeah, that photo on screen now is from yesterday, so
There you
a
go.
very recent example of meeting the team at Sophos. So what's the difference between EDR, XDR, and MDR?
Yeah, a lot of acronyms. And EDR and XDR are pretty much similar. I'll go through the three different products that we offer. We've got antivirus, we call it Central Intercept X Advance. XDR, which is essentially EDR, but I'll come into it in a second. And then we've got MDR, which we've just talked through. So your antivirus is on any endpoint and it blocks everything that's thrown at it. So if a piece of malware, somebody tries to deploy malware, the antivirus, anti-ransomware product will spot it and stop it before it can do any damage. But as Eve, you said at the start of the presentation, it's not so much ransomware is not as the malware is not the problem at the moment. It's actually people logging in with business email compromise and things like that. So the XDR is where we give organizations the tools to monitor what's happening on their network and respond to any issues that they see. So essentially allowing our customers to become threat hunters themselves. So if you've got a team of maybe eight or nine in your security team, XDR is a good option because you've got the people and you've got the experts and you can use our products, but they're not easy to use. It takes a lot of skill, a lot of time to learn exactly how to do it. Attacks are becoming much more complex. So actually the product that we sell most is MDR, where you get the antivirus, you get the tools to do it yourself, but you don't actually have to. You just leave it to Sophos, you leave it to CSG, and we do all of that work for you.
That brings me nicely into my next question. Someone asked what services are typically included in the MDR altogether. So I think you covered them there.
Yeah, so everything's included. So if you buy an MDR from CSG, you get the antivirus and the anti-ransomware, and you also get the tools to play around and monitor and try and be a bit of a threat hunter in-house as well. But don't worry, we don't leave you to it. We'll still be doing all of the work and all of the monitoring in the background as well.
I've got a question here of an example that you could potentially give where MDR specifically helped a business defend from attack. And I know we covered some BEC examples with Marks and the co-op. Do you have any other examples of some big attacks where MDR strengthened their position?
Yeah, so I wouldn't be able to give names or anything like that, but we have what we call early warning calls, where if there's an incident, our team spots it, we book a call with the customer and we talk through this is what's happening, this is what you need to do next. And we do these calls with somebody that might be using just a Sophos firewall or just Sophos antivirus. We also do the calls with customers that have our managed detection and response. And the difference between the two calls is very different. If it's with an MDR customer, it's almost always, this is what we saw, but don't worry, we've done this, this, and this, and this. It's not a problem. We've checked everything. You're now completely clear and running as normal. If it's a customer that doesn't have MDR, it's a different conversation. This is what we've seen. This is the problem that you've got. Maybe we've noticed encryption. We've noticed that data's been taken off the network and stored offsite. This is the next steps. This is what we need to do. And that first conversation where it's all done, don't worry, is a much better one than the second one where we're sort of dealing with it after the fact, and the attacker's got a bit of an advantage over us because they've been on the network and they've had time to see what's what and what's where.
Definitely. Does MDR strengthen your internal email protection? So we've got a question here about asking how to prevent people within organizations from accessing emails. Does MDR allow that reporting?
Yeah, so I'm reading that question. Is it Bal, I think? How can we prevent people within our organization from accessing your emails? So strong password would be the first one. Every user should have a strong password that others can't get. Nobody can access my emails at Sophos because nobody knows my password. Incidents of staff stealing others' work from personal areas in shared drives. So with that, it would the way the MDR team would spot it is that we'd noticed that data was being transferred from shared drives to, for example, a USB pen, an external hard drive being sent to a Gmail account. So we can set rules to prevent that, and we can also set rules to spot it. So if it happens, we can notify you, and you can then look into it and see if it's okay. I do it sometimes. If I need to finish something, I might send or I might book a train ticket or something like that, and I'll forward it to my personal inbox. So a lot of the time it's fine and it's safe, But there are, as this this person here has commented, there are times when it's not an organisation. So it might be an employee that's leaving and they want to send customer data to take into the next role, for example. Things like that, we can spot that and we can stop it.
Definitely. And Kelly's point of assuming that Marks and Spencer would have had MDR in place when they compromised, but does that really emphasize the fact that MDR to work alongside your other security measures, such as employee awareness, training staff, all those other implementations that organizations should be focused on as well?
So I don't know whether Marks and Spencer's had an MDR solution in place when they were compromised. I do know that they didn't have Sophos MDR. They're not a Sophos customer, neither were the co-op. I also know that our leading security analysts are actually now involved in these cases. We are sitting on the government panels that are looking at, because it was Harrods as well, huge sort of traditional British organisations that have been hit. We need to make sure that they're trading and the bad guys are off the network. So we are actually now helping with them. But whether they had an MDR from another organisation at the point of the attack, I'm not sure. If they'd have had Sophos MDR, I would have expected that they wouldn't be in the trouble that they were in now. But it's impossible to say. One thing I can say on that is that for anybody using our MDR complete offering, we are so confident in our products that we offer up to $1 million if there's a breach for a Sophos MDR customer, and we haven't had to pay out yet because there haven't been any major breaches.
Yeah, and that just goes to show the limits of the service, doesn't it? We've got another question here. Of any schools using the services?
They are. So as I said earlier, I think we launched the product about 3 years ago. Schools were probably quite late to the party, purely because of budget. Budgets are tight in education organisations. We know that. And MDR it does cost more than having just your antivirus. But what we also saw with education organisations is that they almost kind of follow the leader. So if somebody like Oxford or Cambridge will deploy MDR, they'll talk about it in their peer groups. And then all of a sudden, more and more are interested, more and more want to find out about it, and more are realizing that it's essential. I don't know if you remember the second slide, we looked at the different verticals and who was getting hit. Education is always quite high, sadly, because of the sensitivity of the data. So hackers know that and they are targeting them. And we've got some really good case studies now in the education sector, specifically for MDR. We've got PDF case studies, we've got interviews with IT directors at universities, schools and colleges. So if there are any education people on here that want to see what we do in the sector, give Eve a shout and we can get that information to you and you can have a look at it. And we can maybe even look to set up some introductions as well.
Yeah, definitely. If there's anyone on the call today that wants to have a chat straight after this meeting or another time this afternoon, then please reach out to your account manager at CSG, pop a message in the chat, or contact us at sales@csgrp.co.uk and we can arrange a follow-up meeting with you from them. But thank you so much. That's all the questions. So Greg, thank you so much for joining us this morning. It was really great to discuss that and to provide that extra information regarding the services that we do with yourself. So thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Eve. Thanks everyone for joining. And any more questions that come up, give Eve and the team a shout. If they can't answer, they know how to get hold of me, and we can get back to you as quickly as we can, as we need to.
Definitely. Thanks again, and hopefully see you at the next roadshow.
See you there. Cheers, everybody. Bye bye.
Bye, guys. Thank you all.